I'm sorry, but it seems that your browser either doesn't support JavaScript or has it disabled. If you're watching this message, please consider enabling JavaScript for a better experience. Hi everyone. Today I'll be presenting to you a course called Mentality Neuropsychology. The course will be covering the biological basis of mental disorders and how these biological factors interact with environmental stressors to produce mental illness. Upon completion of this course, you should be able to explain how neurons communicate, understand the anatomy of the major brain regions and how they are involved in psychological functioning, describe how neuroplasticity relates to learning and memory formation, and identify the neurochemical basis of major mental disorders. So, if you are a student in psychology or neuroscience, or just someone who is interested in understanding the mind, then this course is for you. The course is broken down into 3 sections: neural communication, brain structure and function, and neurochemistry of behavior. Section 1, Neural Communication. Neurons are the fundamental units of the nervous system and are responsible for receiving, processing, and transmitting information throughout the body. This section will be covering the structure of neurons, how they communicate with each other, and the factors that can influence neural communication. So we'll start off by learning about the anatomy of a neuron and how different parts of the neuron contribute to its overall function. We'll be looking at what a neuron looks like under the microscope and exploring the specialized structures found in neurons that are not present in other cell types. We'll also be discussing the role of ions in maintaining the resting membrane potential and how this potential is converted into an action potential when a neuron is stimulated. Additionally, we'll be learning about the synapse, which is the junction between 2 neurons where communication occurs. We'll explore how neurotransmitters are released from the presynaptic neuron, how they bind to receptors on the postsynaptic neuron, and the different ways that they can influence the activity of the postsynaptic neuron. Finally, we'll be discussing the factors that can influence neural communication, such as the strength of the stimulus, the number of synapses between neurons, and the presence of neuromodulators. Section 2, Brain Structure and Function. The brain is a complex organ that is responsible for controlling our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. In this section, we'll be exploring the structure and function of the major brain regions and how they work together to produce complex psychological functioning. To do so, we'll start by learning about the basic organization of the brain, including the central and peripheral nervous systems, as well as the major divisions of the brain, such as the cerebrum, cerebellum, and brainstem. We'll then move on to explore the anatomy and function of each of these regions in more detail, focusing on how they contribute to higher-order cognitive processes, such as language, memory, and decision-making. For example, we'll be learning about the different lobes of the cerebral cortex and the specific functions that they are responsible for. We'll also be exploring the role of subcortical structures, such as the hippocampus and amygdala, in processing emotional stimuli. Additionally, we'll be learning about the major neuroimaging techniques that are used to study the brain, such as MRI and EEG, and how these techniques have contributed to our understanding of brain function. Finally, we'll be discussing the concept of neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the brain to change and adapt in response to experience. We'll explore the mechanisms underlying neuroplasticity and discuss its implications for learning and memory formation, and the consequences of these influences on behavior. Finally, we'll be discussing the ethical considerations involved in studying the neurochemistry of behavior, such as the potential for stigmatization and discrimination based on neurochemical differences. Course assessment. Your grade in this course will be determined by your performance on a final exam. The final exam will consist of 50 multiple-choice questions, 5 short answer questions, and 1 long essay question. You will have 2 hours to complete the exam. All questions on the exam will be based on the lecture material. No outside resources will be permitted. The breakdown of the final exam is as follows: 40% for multiple choice questions, 30% for short answer questions, and 30% for the long essay question. The multiple choice questions will cover material from all sections of the course. Short answer questions will focus on specific examples and applications of the concepts covered in the lectures. And the long essay question will require you to synthesize information from all 3 sections of the course and apply it to a novel situation. So what are you waiting for? Click the link below to enroll in this course today. Don't miss out on this opportunity to learn about the fascinating field of neuropsychology. As a bonus, here are some interesting facts about the brain that you might not know. The brain is the most complex organ in the human body, containing billions of neurons and trillions of synapses. It is responsible for controlling our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Despite its complexity, the brain is also highly adaptable and can change and grow in response to experiences. This process is known as neuroplasticity and allows us to learn new skills and form new memories throughout our lives. One of the most important functions of the brain is the ability to process sensory information. This includes our ability to see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. The brain also processes complex information such as language, memory, and decision-making. These functions require the coordinated activity of multiple brain regions and networks. Understanding how the brain processes information is essential for understanding human cognition and behavior. Another fascinating aspect of the brain is its ability to control movement. This is accomplished through the interaction between the brain and the nervous system. The brain sends signals to the muscles throughout the body, allowing us to perform a wide range of movements, from simple reflexes to complex motor tasks. Understanding the mechanisms that control movement is essential for treating disorders such as Parkinson's disease and multiple sclerosis. Finally, the brain is also responsible for regulating our emotions. This is accomplished through the interaction between the brain and the endocrine system. The brain releases hormones that influence our mood, motivation, and overall well-being. Understanding the neurochemical basis of emotions is essential for treating disorders such as depression and anxiety. Overall, the brain is a truly remarkable organ that is essential for life itself. By understanding how the brain works, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the complexity and wonder of the human body.